Good, happy Saturday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Saturday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on RK Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Saturday morning, so let's get started right now. First up, Iowa Democrats single intent for mail-in balloting, which could move New Hampshire's primary ahead. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Violent drug cartels, avoidable fentanyl deaths, and ongoing human trafficking. That's Joe Biden's border crisis. But conservative Miami Mayor Francis Suarez plans to secure our border.
Iowa and New Hampshire could be on a collision course over who goes first in the presidential nominating process. Earlier this year, Iowa Democrats floated the possibility of adding a mail-in ballot component to their traditional caucuses, casting votes like the Granite State. In an interview Thursday on Iowa PBS about the caucus process, Iowa Democratic Party Chair Rita Hart said, quote, "We're moving forward on the other phase, which is the mail-in presidential selection cards." She noted there is still some ambiguity about that timing, but added, quote, "We're definitely looking forward to the fact that we're going to be having very inclusive caucuses." New Hampshire's Secretary of State has said repeatedly such a move by Iowa Democrats will trigger the state law requiring him to move the primary ahead of any similar contest.
I've been clear and direct with the messaging to Iowa. Mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, even a situation where there's just polling hours where people can show up and just drop a ballot. That is a primary. We're very nimble on our feet, and the primary will happen at the time that we choose.
Iowa's Democratic Party chair also said she's not sold on the January 15th caucus date chosen by Republicans, which could further complicate a calendar already thrown into disarray by the Democratic National Committee.
Well, I hope they reconsider. If they're going to move forward with an unsanctioned event, why wouldn't they just keep it as a caucus? It wouldn't impact New Hampshire's law. I mean, if this triggers the law, according to the Secretary of State, then we're in this scheduling war with Iowa.
For now, this is all posturing, but it could end with the earliest New Hampshire primary ever.
We could be almost butting up against the Christmas holidays, and the fact is that New Hampshire voters, they're engaged, and they'll participate.
In Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Police identify man found dead in water off Hampton Beach jetty. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Granite State Solar is more than just a solar company. We're your neighbors, helping you make the energy choice that's right for you.
Investigators have just identified the man whose body was found off Hampton Beach on Wednesday. State police say 47-year-old Stephen Gelano of Lowell, Mass. accidentally drowned. Investigators say he was dressed in fishing attire and may have been fishing off the Hampton jetty when he went into the water. Another fisherman found his body Wednesday morning.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire man who now lives in Maui says wildfire devastation has been mind-blowing. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
Time for a new AC? Just call Heritage Home Service. Get up to $2,000 off your new AC. Plus, save up to $3,200 in tax rebates on qualifying AC systems. Call Heritage Home Service for a free same-day quote on your new AC. Just call heritage.com.
Entire neighborhoods on the island of Maui are covered in ash and debris after wildfires left a devastating path of destruction.
It's mind-blowing.
67 people are now confirmed dead, and many others are still unaccounted for.
People lost everything. Homes, jobs, their cars, some their pets. There's still people missing.
Theron Hatch recently moved to Maui from Lebanon. His house and family are all okay, but he says the past few days have been scary as smoke and flames have swept through the community.
People are trying to just survive and get together and get water and supplies. It's not like you can go to Nashua or Massachusetts and pick up some water or a generator. I mean, there's so many stores and it's limited resources.
Across the island from where he lives, the historic town of Lahaina has been decimated.
It was like Portsmouth burning. How would people feel if historical Portsmouth, New Hampshire was gone, literally, and you couldn't go into it?
And the fire still hasn't been completely contained.
It's really surreal for me, and it's heartbreaking for lifelong residents, of Maui and Hawaii.
But Theron believes that amidst this devastation, there is hope that his adopted home will make it through.
I think better times are ahead, for sure.
And there are ways that you can help Maui get back to those better days. You can scan the QR code on your screen now to make a donation to the American Red Cross relief efforts. And you can also visit the link on our website and our mobile app. We're live in the studio tonight. Ariel Metropolis, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. COVID-19 levels slightly up in New Hampshire, but numbers are still low, the epidemiologist says. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Everyone knows America's economy is failing, except Joe Biden.
Since President Biden took office, monthly...
What's interesting is that over the last month, there have been very small increases in the number of people hospitalized.
Despite smaller numbers than we once saw, COVID is still around in the Granite State.
We're averaging less than one person per day dying from COVID-19.
In the month of July, we saw an average of 5 people hospitalized a day from COVID. Currently, we're at 10 to 15.
Certainly, numbers are still low. I would not characterize this as a new surge.
COVID cases are not reported like they used to be during the pandemic, but since December of 2022, the state has been able to keep track of rising COVID levels by testing wastewater at 14 different facilities.
Within the wastewater, that is an indicator of not only COVID, but other diseases.
Fred McNeil is the chief engineer of Manchester's Environmental Protection Division. He says in partnership with UNH and the Department of Health and Human Services, they entered a formal sampling program.
We sample our wastewater twice a week, and the state picks it up, and they use that more of an indicator on the current status of COVID and the pandemic.
Bring it to the lab and test to get some idea about levels of virus that are being found in wastewater.
Dr. Chen says the focus is shifting away from just COVID, though, and entering the fall, or as he calls it, respiratory virus season. People should be aware in order to prevent illness. And some of those options that going into the fall are an updated COVID vaccine that's supposed to be out in just a couple of months, and also an updated influenza vaccine that's out right now. There's also an RSV vaccine for people 60 years or older, and also a brand new RSV monoclonal antibody for newborns and infants. And Dr. Chan says to talk to your healthcare providers to see which option is best for you. We're live here in Manchester. Troy Lynch, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Judge issues stern warning to former President Trump. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
At Olive Garden, our cheese will make you melt and leave you bubbling with joy.
President Trump's lawyers were in court today where the judge overseeing the election interference case warned their client against making inflammatory statements, saying his words could backfire and pressure her to speed up the trial. Here's ABC's chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
Judge overseeing the special counsel's election interference case issued a warning today to former President Trump. I will take whatever measures necessary to safeguard the integrity of these proceedings, Judge Tanya Chutkan said. This comes after Trump has been accused of trying to intimidate potential witnesses, including his former Vice President Mike Pence. In one social media post, Trump said, quote, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." In court today, Judge Chutkan told Trump's lawyers, quote, "To the extent your client wants to make statements on the internet, they have to always yield to witness security and witness safety. When Trump's team said it is all about his right to free speech, the judge replied, Mr. Trump, like any American, has a right to free speech, but that right is not absolute. Trump has signaled he would not abide by any limits on what he can say about this case.
I will talk about it. I will. They're not taking away my First Amendment right.
Trump can talk about the case all he wants. At issue today, however, was whether there should be a so-called protective order to keep him from publicly revealing sensitive and confidential information, including secret grand jury transcripts that the special counsel is required to share with him. The judge ruled that Trump would have the same restrictions on revealing confidential information as anyone else. He's a criminal defendant, she said. He's going to have restrictions like every single other defendant.
The special counsel in this case has requested that the trial begin on January 2nd. That would be just 2 weeks before the Iowa caucuses. Trump's lawyers say that's simply too quick and it would interfere with his presidential campaign. The judge has not made a decision, has not set a court date yet, but she made it very clear today that she wants a quick trial and that her decision will not be driven by the political calendar. Lindsay?
The timing of all of this will certainly be complex. John, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that is it for this Saturday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on RK Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great Saturday. Bye.